United States Department of State List of foreign terrorist organizations. Foreign Terrorist Organization (FTO) is a designation for non-United States-based organizations deemed by the United States Secretary of State in accordance with Section 219 of the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 INA to be involved in what U.S. authorities define as terrorist activities. Most of the organizations on the list are Islamist extremist groups, nationalist/separatist groups, or Marxist militant groups. The Department of State, along with the United States Department of the Treasury, also has the authority to designate individuals and entities as subject to counter-terrorism sanctions, according to Executive Order 13,224. The Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control maintains a separate list of such individuals and entities. Identification of candidates. Designation process. Legal criteria for designation. Reflecting amendments to Section 219 of the INA in the 2001 Patriot Act. It must be a foreign organization. The organization must engage in terrorist activity as defined in Section 212 A3b of the INA 8U, SC, SS 1182 A3b*, or terrorism, as defined in Section 104-12 of the Foreign Relations Authorization Act, fiscal years 1988 and 1989, 22 U.S.C. SS 26. The organization's terrorist activity or terrorism must threaten the security of U.S. nationals or the national security, national defense, foreign relations, or the economic interests of the United States. Legal ramifications of designation. It is unlawful for a person in the United States or subject to the jurisdiction of the United States to knowingly provide material support or resources to a designated FTO. The term material support or resources is defined in 18 U.S.C. SS 2339A. As currency or monetary instruments or financial securities, financial services, lodging, training, expert advice or assistance, safe houses, false documentation or identification, communications equipment, facilities, weapons, lethal substances, explosives, personnel, transportation, and other physical assets. Representatives and members of a designated FTO, if they are aliens, are inadmissible to and, in certain circumstances, removable from the United States. See 8 U.S.C. SSSS 1182. AFRI by Roman 4v 1227 T7 A on A. Any U.S. financial institution that becomes aware that it has possession of or control over funds in which a designated FTO or its agent has an interest must retain possession of or control over the funds and report the funds to. Other effects of designation. The U.S. Department of State lists the following items as additional considered beneficial effects of designation: supports efforts to curb terrorism financing and to encourage other nations to do the same, stigmatizes and isolates designated terrorist organizations internationally, deters donations or contributions to and economic transactions with named organizations, heightens public awareness and knowledge of terrorist organizations, signals to other governments U.S. concern about named organizations. Official designation of a group as a foreign terrorist organization also triggers more robust means of combat under the Authorization for Use of Military Force Act enacted in 2001, which is still in force today. Groups designated as FTO. As of October 11, 2020, the following organizations are designated foreign terrorist organizations. Delisted FTO. The following groups have been removed from the Department of State's list as of October 11, 2020, most due to having been disbanded and thus being no longer active. Controversies. The 2012 delisting of Mujahedin-e-Khalq was supported by numerous U.S. lawmakers and defense and foreign policy officials, but was criticized by the National Iranian-American Council. The Treasury Department investigated allegations that payments to former Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell, on behalf of his lobbying for the Amici, had violated the legal ban on material support for an FTO. In November 2013, the State Department listed the Nigerian terrorist organization Boko Haram as an FTO. In 2014, Republican members of Congress criticized the State Department for not designating the group as an FTO earlier. In August 2014, the Christian Science Monitor reported that U.S. military was coordinating with Kurdish forces in Iraq, including elements of the PKK, seemed to be in violation of the ban on assistance to a designated FTO.